NJ Transit was back up and running, and while that was good news for many commuters, transit officials say why it was a difficult day back nonetheless. Plus, deepfakes are at the forefront of a new piece of legislation. We hear from the First Lady on what the Take It Down Act is taking down. Those stories and more as 12 News at Noon starts right now.
From WBNG, the Southern Tier's #1 local news. This is 12 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to 12 News at Noon. I'm Jess Liptzin. If you're headed out in the next few hours in Cortland, there is a bit of road construction on the bridge on Interstate 81. According to 511NY, the bridge on 81 southbound at exit 52 will be under construction. That is NY13 on Clinton Avenue in Cortland. It started this morning at 7 a.m., but should be complete by 3:30 later today. One of the two lanes will stay open, so you can stay on that route, but give yourself some time for traffic if there happens to be any buildup. The three-day strike by engineers and more at NJ Transit is over, which was good news for commuters on Monday. After delays impacted so many in the area, the union representing striking engineers and trainmen announced Sunday it reached a tentative agreement on a new labor contract with New Jersey Transit. The union did not reveal terms of the tentative deal, but the tentative deal still needs to be ratified by a majority of the rank-and-file union members. However, those with NJ Transit were happy to have a smooth day back.
Yesterday, as all of you know, Mike's folks worked very hard to get the contingency plan implemented. I think the day was a success overall. In the evening, there was a lot of congestion at Lincoln Tunnel, but the Port Authority lines were cleared up by 6 o'clock in the evening. And throughout the day, we did see some heavy traffic on our bus system, but overall, we managed through it.
The strike that started Friday had the potential to greatly disrupt service for 100,000 customers daily. New Jersey Transit is the country's third largest commuter railroad. Today is an important voting day for schools around the area. Voting is already underway in Broome, Shenango, and Tioga counties as locals are heading to the polls to vote on school budgets. Most polls opened at noon. However, some open and close at different times. For a full list on which schools are holding votes, as well as poll locations and times, head to our website, WBNG.com. Pennsylvania Secretary of State Al Schmidt is reminding residents where to find voter information as today's primary elections are underway. According to Schmidt, vote.pa.gov is the one-stop shop for information about elections and voting. Because the Commonwealth has a closed primary, you can only vote for your respective party nominees. Voters can also call the PA State Department's voter hotline, the number which is on your screen now. Polls opened at 7 a.m. and will stay open until 8 p.m. today. All 10 of the former Marcy Corrections officers accused in the death of an inmate have appeared in court to either reject or accept their plea deals. Of them, 8 have rejected their offer and will likely head to trial. Megan Coleman has the details.
Over the last 3 months, they've filed in to face an Oneida County Court judge, one after another, hearing the charges against them and the gruesome details of what prosecutors say they did to an inmate on their watch.
It was welcome to Marcy.
Robert Brooks was transferred from Mohawk Correctional Facility to Marcy. That's the day prosecutors say this beating, caught on camera, ended his life.
These men murdered my father. It was on video. The whole world got to see it.
Special Prosecutor Bill Fitzpatrick and his team have spent months interviewing witnesses, pouring through the body camera footage, and compiling their case against the 10 defendants. So far, only 2 have taken a plea deal. Christopher Walrath pleading guilty to a manslaughter charge, admitting he struck Brooks in the groin and never reported the beating. He now faces 15 years in prison.
So this is great to hear that someone is actually going to go to jail for a crime that they committed.
And Nicholas Gentile pleading guilty to tampering with physical evidence, admitting he cleaned up Brooks's blood and didn't document it. He was sentenced to a 1-year conditional discharge and was forced to resign from his prison job.
The matter of people against Matthew Gallagher.
In court today, Matthew Gallagher rejecting a plea deal in exchange for 12 years in state prison. If convicted, he now faces 25 years to life.
Understanding your exposure, you wish to reject that offer today. I do. I'll mark the offer then as rejected.
Also facing a judge today, Nicholas Anzalone, rejecting an offer of no more than 18 years to life in state prison and will also head to trial. If convicted, he'll spend 25 years to life in prison.
You may not see an offer this favorable again as we go forward. We wish to reject that today. I'll mark the offer as rejected.
Also rejecting the plea deal, Anthony Farina, David Kingsley, and Nicholas Kiefer. They now face 25 years to life in prison if convicted of second-degree murder. Michael Fisher, Michael Mishaw, and David Walters also opting to head to trial on manslaughter charges. The trio faces 15 years behind bars if convicted. I'm Megan Coleman reporting.
Authorities have increased the award for information on the whereabouts of 6 missing inmates who escaped from a Louisiana jail. Early Friday morning, 10 inmates breached the wall at the Orleans Justice Center in New Orleans. They went through a door used to bring in supplies, scaled a wall, and ran across the interstate. 4 inmates have been captured, but 6 are still on the run.
My victim witness began calling victims and witnesses to let them know that the defendants in these cases, in their cases, were out and at large.
The ATF is offering a $5,000 reward on top of $2,000 reward from Crime Stoppers and another $5,000 reward from the FBI. Investigators say they have active leads. President Donald Trump signed a federal law Monday that criminalizes the sharing of non-consensual explicit deepfakes. Those are images in which a person's face is superimposed on a nude body using artificial intelligence. The Take It Down Act also requires tech platforms to remove such images within 48 hours of being notified about them. The law will boost protections for victims of revenge porn, increase accountability for the tech platforms where they're shared, and give law enforcement clarity about how to prosecute the activity. Previously, federal law banned creating or sharing realistic AI-generated explicit images of kids, but laws protecting adult victims varied state by state and didn't exist nationwide.
This legislation is a powerful step forward in our efforts to ensure that every American, especially young people, can feel better protected from their image or identity being abused through non-consensual or intimate imagery of I and CII.
The law also represents one of the first new U.S. federal laws aimed at addressing the potential harms from AI-generated content as the technology rapidly advances. One day after speaking to the leader of Russia in order to jumpstart peace talks with Ukraine, President Trump is set to address members of his own party. The goal to unite them around a massive budget package that includes key elements of his domestic agenda. GOP party members are still in talks as leaders push to move the bill to the floor for a final vote before Memorial Day. CBS News' Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
Today, President Donald Trump heads to Capitol Hill to rally House GOP support behind his One Big Beautiful Bill.
This will be the greatest tax cuts in history.
The package would make his 2017 tax cuts permanent and increase border funding while cutting Medicaid, food assistance, and clean energy spending. It would also add work requirements to some social programs. Democrats strongly oppose the measure.
The Republicans are trying to jam this big, ugly bill down the throats of the American people.
But House Republicans are split. Some hardliners argue the bill's spending cuts don't go far enough and that work requirements should kick in sooner. Disagreements also remain on the state and local tax deduction or SALT cap.
We have a timetable we have to meet.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is eyeing Thursday for a final vote ahead of his self-imposed Memorial Day deadline. Meanwhile, President Trump said Russia and Ukraine would immediately start ceasefire negotiations following a 2-hour call with Russian President Vladimir Putin Monday.
We had a good talk. And I think that progress is being made.
The president also suggested the Vatican could play a role in negotiations.
I think it would be maybe helpful.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said he also had calls with President Trump and European leaders Monday. President Trump warned that the U.S. could still back away from talks if there's no progress. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Home Depot says it won't raise prices from President Donald Trump's tariffs. The home improvement giant is taking a different approach than that of Walmart and other retailers that plan to pass trade war-related costs onto consumers. Home Depot's finance chief told CNBC the company's scale and partnerships with suppliers makes it able to generally hold current pricing levels. More than half of the retailer products come from the U.S. However, the trade war has indirectly hurt Home Depot. Low consumer sentiment due to fears over the economy has in part kept some customers away. Home Depot reported sluggish earnings Tuesday, weighed down by a weak housing market and consumers taking on fewer large-scale renovation projects. America's major cities grew last year, reversing pandemic-era population declines. According to the Census Bureau data, population rose in most big cities, with New York, Houston, and Los Angeles adding the most people. Data shows 94% of the biggest cities grew during the 12-month period ending in June of last year. That as the nation's total population increased by 1%. That's the biggest annual increase in almost 25 years. Experts believe the urban recovery is driven mostly by immigration. It's been a few days now since we've heard former President Biden has been diagnosed with cancer. And coming up on 12 News at noon, we take a closer look at what he's dealing with as we hope for a speedy recovery. That's after the break.
Stanley Steamer cleans carpet, tile, hardwood, upholstery, air ducts, and more. Leaders do things the right way. That's why we use the most powerful trucks and the best trained technicians in the industry. When you need the best quality whole home deep cleaning, call 1-800-STEAMER.
How many more times do you think you can outrun death?
Everybody stay sharp. One more time, at least. Let's blast off.
Gear up for the FBI's finale night.
We got this. That is what we're looking for.
This is serious.
It's always serious on this job. We're doing this my way. How badass is that?
The FBI's finales, CBS Tonight, and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Introducing the new Matthews Rewards Plus rewards program. The plus means free state inspections and free tire rotations. And there are a lot more benefits. Matthews Rewards Plus, only at Matthews Auto.
The Helios team made it so that I could really just enjoy whatever time I had left with Rolf. My husband had a very bad car accident. After that, he just deteriorated. The Helios team treated him as a vibrant person. They took right over, let's get him a hospital bed, let's see what else we can do to help. Helios team would tell me, go on out and garden, take a break from what you're doing, reach out and get the help you need. Call Helios Care.
William Mattar has a reputation for being a good guy.
Because I am a good guy.
For being focused on motor vehicle accident cases.
Because I focus on motor vehicle accidents.
For fighting for his clients.
Because I fight for my clients.
If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, it matters who you hire. It matters in the experience as well as the results. Call William Mattar. Visit WilliamMattar.com.
Binghamton Agway, your local lawn and garden store. Visit our nursery for the best picks of annuals, perennials, and hanging baskets. Or check out our wide assortment of vegetables. Binghamton Agway, brands you trust, people you know.
Protection is what you think about when they're just waking up. It's a steady hand that's always there. It's in the things that you do every day, even when no one sees it. Vaccination is protection too. Simple, powerful, quiet, like so much of what you do. Immunization is protection.
Stanley Steamer's air duct cleaning process goes deep, cleaning your entire system. If you've never had your air ducts cleaned or it's been a few years, now's the time. With the most certified technicians and best trucks in the industry, it's a clean only Stanley Steamer can provide. Call or click to schedule your appointment.
Welcome back to 12 News at noon. Former U.S. President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer, according to a statement issued by his personal office. Doctors say the cancer has spread to his bones, but is currently responding to hormone therapy. CNN's Meg Terrell explains what the diagnosis means and what comes next.
prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers in men, and many times it can be very, very slow growing. But the way it's characterized is by something called a Gleason score. And we learned from President Biden's office that his cancer has a Gleason score of 9. And typically that describes essentially the way the cells look under a microscope. And lower numbers, closer to 6, show that the cells look closer to normal. A higher number, closer to 10, suggests they look more abnormal and suggests it is a more aggressive form of cancer. And we know from President Biden's office that the cancer has spread to his bones. They say also that the cancer is sensitive to hormone therapy and that that's a good thing. Doctors we spoke with said that that is typical. When you first start to treat prostate cancer, often you do see it respond well to therapy that blocks male hormones. And a question will be, does that continue to work for the president? They say that will guide really future treatment options, which could include things like chemotherapy as well as radiation therapy. So we understand that the president is working with his family and doctors to think about treatment options now. Now, a lot of folks might be asking, you know, how did this only get caught after it had already spread to the president's bones? And doctors say that's a complicated question because if you look at the screening guidelines for prostate cancer in the United States, for men below the age of 70, it's really an individual decision with their doctor whether to screen routinely for prostate cancer based on just how fast the cancer often is growing if it's caught at that stage and the outcomes that change whether you're screening or not. But for men over the age of 70, the recommendation isn't to routinely screen using PSA or prostate-specific antigen testing for prostate cancer. And so while it's unclear if a president would be getting different treatment than the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force guidelines, it's typically not recommended for men over the age of 70 to be routinely screened. But prostate cancer is a very common cancer. 1 out of 8 men in the United States are estimated to have a diagnosis of prostate cancer in their lifetimes. The National Cancer Institute estimates that more than 300,000 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2025, and more than 35,000 men will die from the disease. But a lot of folks are living with prostate cancer. In 2022, the estimate was 3.5 million people living with prostate cancer. Doctors recommend folks, really keep on top of their health, talk with their doctors about their own personal risk factors, and make decisions about whether screening works for them based on the guidelines. And everyone, of course, wishing the Bidens the best in this journey.
Research shows 800,000 women suffer with mental health issues during and after pregnancy every year, yet only 25% receive treatment. And May is the time to bring awareness to these issues as it is Maternal Mental Health Month. According to the Policy Center for Maternal Mental Health, 1 in 5 mothers experience mental health disorders just before or after birth, ranging from depression and anxiety to post-traumatic stress. Social, cultural, and economic levels increase the risk for Latina and Hispanic women. Carla Cardoza is a marriage and family therapist who works with Postpartum Support International, providing support and increasing awareness about the emotional changes new moms experience.
When symptoms are lingering, such as lack of interest, maybe sadness, like just a lot of sadness, crying, having a difficulty sleeping, difficulty taking care of themselves, maybe having intrusive thoughts, it is important to take action.
Postpartum Support International also offers coordination, comfort, and peer support, helping people find the right resources online and in their own communities. Pregnant and postpartum parents can call the PSI helpline for support and resources at the number. Scientists are getting closer to finding a pain relief medication that doesn't have the dangerous side effects of opioids. Doctors at Duke University say an experimental drug called SBI 810 is showing promise to relieve pain without causing a buildup of tolerance, which often leads to opioid patients to need stronger and stronger doses.
Well, good Tuesday morning. If you didn't look at the calendar or weren't aware of what month it was, you might think it's October. When you step outside this morning, it's chilly. Yeah, we're looking at unseasonable chill. And the first alert that's in effect today is only for this morning. Again, for that risk of some frosty spots. So first alert, not all day long, only the morning hours. Headlines, it's cold, unseasonably so, but we have a dry day. Clouds will move in tonight, later today, into tonight, and we have a rainy, chilly, unseasonable pattern sticking around all week long with temperatures well below average at times. Take a look at the European weather model now. We're going to be getting wet. I know. We don't need it. Unfortunately, Mother Nature doesn't care. This is Wednesday through Friday. The European weather model putting anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to perhaps 1.25 inches of rain. Entirely possible. I think because this rain is not convective, it's not thunderstorm related, that it should be, we should be able to handle it. We're not going to like it because it's going to make things even wetter than they already are. But I think we're going to be okay on the whole in terms of any flash flooding risks. I just don't see that happening. Through the day, there's the clouds coming in for dinner time into tonight. Again, we'll see that rain arrive from the south and west through tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, everybody picking up some rain. Notice there's not a lot of yellow or oranges. So again, the rainfall will be steady to moderate at times, but I don't think we should have any serious problems all the way through Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon as well, folks. It's going to be wet. Temperatures, yeah, we're only in the 40s here for a large portion of the morning. By the afternoon, we'll be in the 50s, mid-50s probably, maybe some upper 50s. Then tonight, dropping back into the 40s. It won't be as cold overnight as it is this morning. And then by the afternoon on Wednesday, look at that. High temperatures likely only in the upper 40s to low 50s. 26th through the 30th, trending below average temperature-wise here in the Northeast. And precipitation may not surprise you. Almost the same time frame, trending above average during that period. Looking at your mowing forecast, got to get some yard work done. Well, today, good day. You're not going to have any problems today, but then with the rain coming in Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, not only is it going to be very wet, but you're going to be looking at some rain showers as well, so probably not the best. Looking at the 7-day forecast, frost here this morning in spots. We're in the low 50s on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Look at the rain chances staying high. Temperatures struggling to 50 on Thursday. I think low to mid-50s on Friday and Saturday. My hope is that we can stay dry and warm up a little bit by the weekend.
Thank you, Howard, and my hope is that as well. It's a little cold this morning or this afternoon, as it is 45 in Binghamton, 47 in Montrose, and 50 up in Plymouth. Now, before we head to break, here are some people we're remembering in our community today.
The wheel, one of humans' greatest inventions.
Who knew then it could land you here, the hospital?
Wheeled vehicles cause thousands and thousands of injuries every year.
Injured, get the money you deserve.
At Harding Mazzati, you get over 30 years of helping experience.
And our experience knows how to win.
Hurt by something on wheels?
Call Harding Mazzati.
Harding Mazzati, do it again. Call 1-800-LAW-1010.
The wheel, what's next?
Coming through.
Sweet kid.
Everything must go at Van Cott Jewelers. Don't miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime deal, up to 80% off, plus up to an extra 10% off. You won't want to miss this. Hurry in for earrings, bracelets, rings, and more before Van Cott Jewelers closes its doors forever.
Need windows? Considering buy two, get two free or 50% off deals? Beware. Some offers are too good to be true. At Window World, we provide honest, itemized pricing. Before you buy, get multiple quotes and compare prices. Choose a trusted company like Window World today.
The reason I called Dr. Sambursky was because I never had a nice smile. I always hid it.
At Dental Solutions of Binghamton, we restore more than smiles. We restore lives. Eat the healthy foods you love, smile confidently, and enjoy life again. As prosthodontists, we specialize in the replacement and restoration of missing and broken down teeth. Let Dental Solutions of Binghamton be your solution.
Dental Solutions of Binghamton gave me my smile back.
Call Dental Solutions of Binghamton today.
AVRE believes nothing should limit what you love doing. That's why we offer a range of free learning, living, and working options.
Someone's at your door.
To make life brighter for those with little or no vision, call AVRE to learn how we can help.
You've put up with your old shower for too long. It's outdated, unsafe, and it's time to replace it. But why struggle with a lengthy shower remodel when Jacuzzi can do it in just one day? And there's no need to break a sweat or your budget. Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering 0 interest and 0 payments for up to 1 year. So you can finally convert your old bath to a safer, easy entry shower, complete with a custom seat, grab bars, and slip-resistant floor installed in 1 day.
My overall experience with Jacuzzi has been wonderful. Everything was customized to the way I wanted it for the price that I wanted to pay.
I've had a great experience from start to finish.
Don't take matters into your own hands. Do it the smart way. Give Jacuzzi Bath Remodel a call.
Call or go online now to jacuzzibathremodel.com. We're waiving all installation costs, and there's no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-990-3162. That's 800-990-3162. Call now.
Everything must go at Van Cott Jewelers. Don't miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime deal, up to 80% off, plus up to an extra 10% off. You won't want to miss this. Hurry in for earrings, bracelets, rings, and more before Van Cott Jewelers closes its doors forever.
Welcome back, and 12 Sports wraps up this year on campus tonight as part of the season finale of the Bearcats Coaches Show. The 12 Sports team will sit down with Director of Athletics Eugene Marshall Jr. for a one-on-one on Binghamton athletics and the future of the program. The 12 Sports team highlights the fall and spring semesters on the field, the court, and the track. Plus, we hear from President Stanger one last time before his career on campus comes to a close. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. for our conversations with the Bearcats coaches. And finally, at noon, we can tell you a new way to get to Sesame Street through Netflix. That's after the show's producer, Sesame Workshop, reached a deal with the streamer. The Netflix deal calls for new episodes with Big Bird, Cookie Monster, and The Gang to debut on PBS stations and on the PBS Kids app on the same day they're released on Netflix. The 56th season of the beloved children's program will be released on Netflix in 3 batches and will have a reimagined format. In addition to the new season, Netflix is getting the rights to 90 hours of previous episodes. Alrighty, so we got Sesame Street Nights coming hopefully Elmo. I didn't hear anything about Elmo in that one, but I will get to the bottom if he will be there as well. That's going to do it for us here on 12 News at Noon. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always stay up to date with us on our website, WBNG.com, or our 12 News app. Enjoy the rest of your day.